Why do they expect your tears, your begging, your endless replies, but never your silence? Why do they believe they can play with your heart, take your energy, and still hear from you whenever they want? It's because they thought you were weak. They thought you needed them more than they needed you. But here's the truth. The moment you stay silent, the game flips. You stop being the one who suffers, and they start to feel the fire of their own actions. They wanted control. They wanted your attention on demand. But when you decide to never answer, you take all of that away. Silence is not passive. It is the loudest statement you will ever make. It says, I don't need you. I don't chase you. I don't break for you. It forces them to face the one thing they fear most, losing their grip on you. Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. And that is exactly what your silence does. It proves you are no longer chained to their games. You are untouchable, unshaken, unstoppable. So listen closely, because in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why silence is the ultimate weapon, and how to use it with the strength of the Stoics and the fire of self-respect. By the end, you won't just understand silence, you'll master it. And before we dive in, I want you to drop this powerful affirmation in the comments right now. I do not chase. I attract. My silence speaks louder than words. Number 1. Silence is the real punishment. When you refuse to answer, you hand them the very thing they never wanted, time alone with their own conscience. Epictetus once said, silence is safer than speech. And he was right. Words can be twisted, arguments can be dismissed, explanations can be ignored, but silence is undeniable. It forces them to sit in the emptiness they created. They expected noise, your messages, your tears, your explanations, your pleas. They thought you would feed their ego with your pain. But when you go quiet, when you choose not to give them that attention, they are left with nothing but themselves. And trust me, that silence eats at them more than anything you could ever say. Every minute you don't respond becomes a weight pressing down on their chest. Every day you stay silent becomes a reminder that they no longer have the power they once thought they had over you. This is not about childish games. This is about self-respect. You are not here to beg for attention. You are not here to explain yourself to people who already knew your value but chose to ignore it. Your silence is your dignity. It is you saying, I will not argue for my worth. I will not perform for your approval. I know who I am, and I don't need your validation to prove it. And here's the truth. The one who speaks less always holds the most power. Why? Because control belongs to the one who can resist the urge to break. They expected you to break first. They wanted to see you fold. But when you don't, when you stand tall in silence, you reclaim every ounce of power they thought they had. The next time you feel the urge to reply, pause, take a breath. Remind yourself that every word you don't send, every call you don't return, makes your silence louder. Let them suffer in the void they created. Let silence be your weapon, your shield, your crown. Now, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. My silence is my power. My worth speaks for itself. Number 2, scarcity makes them desperate. Seneca once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." When you stay silent, you create scarcity, and scarcity creates desire. People always take for granted what is easy to access. When you were available, when you replied fast, when you gave your time freely, they treated it like it would never run out. But the moment you withdraw, the moment you stop feeding their ego with your attention, they feel the sting of loss. Silence is not emptiness, it's value. Your absence multiplies your worth because suddenly they don't have it anymore. Think about it. Humans crave what they can't have. It's not the constant that excites them, it's the rare, the unreachable, the thing slipping out of their hands. By refusing to answer, you become that rarity. You go from being their comfort zone to being their obsession. They replay old conversations. They scroll through old photos. They wonder why you stopped talking, and in that wondering, you gain the upper hand. This is where the tables turn. When you were always there, they felt secure, too secure. But silence shakes that false security. It makes them realize that they can lose you. It makes them regret the arrogance they carried when they thought you'd always be around. And now, instead of you craving their attention, they crave yours. That's the power of scarcity. And here's the key: do not break. If you run back the moment they panic, you hand back the control. Scarcity only works if you remain rare. Don't give them what they want. Don't rush to answer. Don't be afraid of being silent for days, weeks, months if necessary, because every hour you stay silent increases your value in their eyes. Remove the idea of urgency from your mind. They don't deserve instant access to you anymore. If you must respond, delay. If you don't need to respond at all, don't. Show them that your time is sacred. Your presence is a privilege, not a right. Number 3, silence proves you don't need them. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the essence of silence. When you refuse to answer, you're making one bold, undeniable statement: I don't need you. And that shakes them to their core. They expected your weakness. They expected you to fold, to beg, to break. They thought their text would have you jumping at the chance to reconnect. But instead, they are met with silence, unloving, unbothered, unshaken. That silence proves what words never could. You are complete without them. You are strong on your own. You are no longer chained to their approval, their attention, or their validation. Dependence is the greatest trap. It gives away your power, your dignity, your freedom. When you stop responding, you cut the rope that tied you to their control. You stop dancing to their rhythm and start walking to your own. And this terrifies them, because they realize they are no longer the center of your world. Understand this: the strongest position you can ever be in is independence. When they know you don't need them, when they see you thriving in silence, their confidence collapses. The power they once held over you evaporates, and all that's left is regret, doubt, and fear on their side. Every time you feel the urge to break silence, redirect that energy. Read, train, write, build, improve yourself. Channel what you once gave to them into creating a life so full that their presence or absence no longer defines you. Every hour spent in silence should also be an hour spent becoming stronger. Now, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I am whole, I am strong, I am complete without them. Number 4, silence commands respect. Epictetus once said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Respect is never given to those who beg, chase, or explain. It is given to those who know their worth and protect it without compromise. Your silence is not weakness. It is dignity in its purest form. It tells them, "I am not here to entertain your games. I am not here to prove my value. My silence is my answer, and that answer is power." When you stop replying, You stop giving them the reaction they crave. You take away the chaos they fed on, the control they thought they had. Instead of meeting fire with fire, you meet it with stillness. And that stillness commands attention. They may not admit it, but deep down, they respect the fact that you didn't break, that you didn't fold, that you didn't hand over your power wrapped in desperate words. Respect is built in silence, because silence cannot be faked. Anyone can talk. Anyone can make promises. But few have the strength to stay silent when their ego screams to answer. By not responding, you set a boundary they cannot cross. You show them that you are no longer available at their convenience. You reveal that your time, your energy, your attention are luxuries, not freebies. Understand this. Every time you don't answer, your value multiplies. Your silence makes them wonder, question, doubt. And in that uncertainty, respect begins to grow, even if they would rather deny it than face it. The next time you feel the urge to respond, pause and ask yourself one question. Will this raise my value or lower it? If the answer lowers your value, stay silent. Train yourself to choose dignity over impulse, because respect is built on discipline. Number 5. Silence flips the power dynamic. Seneca once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." The moment you stop answering, you take the power away from them and place it back in your own hands. They thought they were in control. They thought they could pull your strings with a text, a call, or a breadcrumb of attention. But when you didn't reply, the entire script flipped. Suddenly, they're the one waiting, the one wondering, the one obsessing over why their tactics no longer work on you. That's the beauty of silence. It shifts the balance. Instead of chasing, you become the one chased. Instead of explaining, you become the mystery they can't solve. Silence forces them into the very position they once placed you in, uncertainty. And that uncertainty is power. Because when someone doesn't know where they stand with you, when they can't predict your moves, when they can't control your emotions, they lose their grip. They expected your tears. They expected your weakness. But your silence gave them fear instead. Fear that they no longer matter. Fear that they no longer have influence. Fear that they lost their control over you for good. And the longer you stay silent, the more that fear grows until it eats at them from the inside out. This is how silence makes you untouchable. It isn't about revenge. It isn't about games. It's about self-mastery. You are no longer the one reacting. You are the one setting the pace. And once you hold that power, you never give it back. The next time they reach out, instead of asking, "Should I reply?" ask yourself, "Who holds the power if I stay silent?" Every time you resist answering, you strengthen your control and remind them that the old version of you, the one they could manipulate, is gone. Now, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I hold the power. Silence makes me stronger. Number 6. Silence protects your peace. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Your silence is not just about making them suffer. It's about protecting your inner world. Every reply, every back and forth, every little argument is an open door for chaos to creep into your life. But when you stay silent, you lock that door. You shield your peace. You remind yourself that their drama has no place in your space. They wanted a reaction. They wanted you tangled in their web of control. But when you didn't respond, you broke the cycle. You chose stillness over chaos, clarity over confusion, self-respect over desperation. That choice is powerful. That choice is rare. And that choice is what makes you untouchable. Silence is not weakness, it's discipline. It's the ability to say, "I won't let you disturb my peace anymore." And that alone terrifies them. Because when someone realizes they no longer have access to your emotions, they no longer have power, your peace becomes your fortress. It's the shield that no insult, no guilt trip, no manipulative tactic can pierce. Think of silence as your weapon and your protection at the same time. While they scramble to understand why you're no longer playing the game, you're busy building yourself stronger, calmer, wiser. You're not just ignoring them, you're growing beyond them. The next time their name flashes on your screen, don't ask what they want. Ask what you want. Do you want chaos or do you want peace? Every time you stay silent, you choose yourself, and that is the most powerful choice you will ever make. Number 7. Silence exposes true intentions. Epictetus said, "People are not disturbed by things, but by the view they take of them." When you refuse to answer, when you hold your silence, the truth comes to the surface. Their patience, their respect, their intentions, all of it is revealed in how they react to your absence. Some will panic, some will strategize, and some will quietly disappear. Your silence becomes a mirror that reflects who truly values you and who was only benefiting from your availability. This is not about punishing anyone. It's about clarity. Every moment you stay silent is an opportunity to observe without distraction, to witness their reactions without giving them power over your emotions. You see who respects boundaries and who doesn't. You see who truly cares and who only seeks convenience. Silence turns speculation into revelation. It shows the depth of their character, and it confirms your strength because you're no longer allowing yourself to be a tool in someone else's hands. Commit to observing without responding. Resist the urge to clarify, explain, or justify. Let them reveal themselves through their actions, not your words. Your stillness is your spotlight. It illuminates everything they are hiding while keeping you untouchable. Now, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. My silence reveals the truth, and I see clearly who values me. Number 8. Silence proves you've outgrown them. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Silence proves something they never expected. You've outgrown them. They thought you'd always be there, ready to answer, ready to explain, ready to fight for their attention. But when you stayed silent, you showed them a truth that cuts deeper than any words. You no longer need them. You no longer crave their approval. You've risen above the game they were playing. Silence is not just a lack of words. It's evidence of transformation. It tells them, "I've evolved. I don't belong where I once was. I won't shrink myself to fit in your world anymore." That realization stings because it's final. It's permanent. Once someone sees you're no longer controlled by their presence, they know the chapter is closed. They may pretend they don't care, but deep inside, the silence screams louder than any goodbye. Your silence says, "I'm not angry. I'm not bitter. I'm simply done." That is the kind of power they cannot fight. They can argue with words, but they can't argue with absence. They can spin stories in their head, but they can't twist your silence. That is why it hurts them so much. It leaves them powerless, wondering, regretting, questioning. By refusing to answer, you've taken the one step that guarantees your growth. You're no longer stuck in the same cycle of drama and pain. You're walking into a higher version of yourself, where your energy is preserved, your worth is honored, and your life moves forward without chains. Write down the lessons this silence taught you. Then, Set your new standards in stone. Promise yourself that from this moment forward, you will never lower your value for someone who cannot see it. Remember this: every moment you chose silence instead of reaction, you reclaimed your power. Every time you resisted the urge to explain, beg, or chase, you elevated your worth and showed them what real strength looks like. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Your silence is not absence. It is authority. It is proof that your life, your peace, and your happiness are not dependent on anyone else's recognition or approval. Let this be your mantra. You do not answer because your energy is priceless. You do not explain because your value is undeniable. You do not chase because your time belongs to you, and the chapter of someone else's control is closed. Every unanswered text, every moment of stillness, every refusal to lower yourself is a declaration. You will not be manipulated. You will not be controlled. You will not settle for less than your worth. Stand tall in your silence. Celebrate the freedom it brings. Use it to grow stronger, to build yourself, and to focus on the life you deserve. Protect your energy like the treasure it is, and let your absence speak louder than any words ever could. Your peace, your confidence, and your self-respect are your ultimate victories. If you internalize this, you'll realize the true power isn't in making them suffer. It's in making yourself unstoppable. You've learned to rise above the drama, to honor your boundaries, and to step into a life where you are in control of your happiness. That is mastery. That is freedom. That is power. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments right now. I own my silence. I reclaim my power, and no one controls my worth. If this message resonates with you, hit that like button, subscribe for more empowering content, and share this video with anyone who needs to reclaim their power through silence. Stand firm, stay strong, and never forget, you are untouchable when you honor yourself.